Come on now. You're going to start snapping at the man. You're going to start trying to diss the man. You talking bad about this man. This is the person that you let raw dog you. Don't talk bad about him now. He was good enough to slide up into your womb unprotected. Hello, knockouts. Tonya TKO here, and I'm a self-love specialist from TonyaTko.com. I hope you learn how to love yourself and each other. On this channel, we use viral video topics as teachable moments for dating, relationships, and self-love in our own lives. I get letters from people frequently, and for the most part, I post those letters on my Facebook page, and I allow you all to answer. This one young lady wrote to me, and I was perturbed by this email, and I decided to create a video about this because I feel like this could be a larger teachable moment for all of us, because I feel like a lot of us do this, and I want us to delve deeper into this because there's some orbitals in there that we need to take a look at, and I'm hoping that this young lady will take the time to dive all through what it is that we're going to be discussing here today. So I'm going to read the letter for you all. She says, "Hi, I've been following you since you reviewed the Pastor Gray situation. I recently found out that I'm 6 weeks pregnant, and as excited as I am about my baby, I'm ashamed of my baby's father. I broke it off with him after about a month of us dating because he's broke. I just couldn't believe I had already had sex with a guy who couldn't afford to buy me a meal. I should have figured that out first, but whatever. My friend introduced us because she thought we would like each other, and she was right. He's a beautiful spirit and a big heart. He's genuinely a nice person, and I love his highly energetic personality. But as I said, bruh is broke! Exclamation point. I got out of a 5-year relationship with a guy who literally paid for everything, but treated me like SHIT! Exclamation point. So being with my BD, which stands for baby daddy, was a breath of fresh air, and I let myself go. Well, 2 weeks, listen, 2 weeks after dumping him, I found out I'm pregnant. I want to keep my baby. I just have to come to terms with being pregnant from a guy who can't feed us and won't be much help monetarily. He has 2 children. From what I can tell, he spends as much time with them as he can. Well, because he doesn't have any money to contribute! Exclamation point. This is my first child and I'm freaking out right now. I'm giving up going to the military to have this baby, and I find myself beating myself up for the circumstance I conceived this child in. How can I feel better about my situation? I know I'm not the only one who's done this before. How did it work out?" All right. You know what? Come with me. Let's do a little bit of math, shall we? Let's do a little bit of math. All right. So she said she met the man and they dated for about a month. That's 4 weeks. Okay? Then she dumped him, and after 2 weeks, she found out that she was 6 weeks pregnant. I want you to do the math with me. Do the math. There it is right there. All right? So, can you see it? There it is right there. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. There's the math. All right. Part of what's upsetting me so much about this letter, you know what? We're going to dive into that. And I need to say, this is the last weekend that I'm selling the vitamin E. Because listen, it's natural to get upset. But we don't want the frown lines that go along with being upset. Because this letter right here would have done made me crease up all my skin. So right now I don't have on any makeup, none whatsoever, not even foundation, not even concealer under my eyes, because sometimes I'll do concealer under my eyes, but I don't have on any today. And listen, if you have a lot of upsetting things going on around you like I do with these types of letters, you want to make sure that you keep your skin looking plump and nice and young and fresh as well. See, part of what upsets me so much about this letter, let's do the arbitals, right? Let's do the arbitals. So the first arbital, and you all know from watching my channel that arbitals are reading between the lines. All right. So if we read between the lines, we see the timeline. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks pregnant, which means that she started having unprotected intercourse with this man as soon as they met, right? So that's one. Two, she's calling him her BD. She's 6 weeks pregnant. And she's already gearing herself up to be a baby mama. Calling this man her baby daddy. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. And you know what the thing is? The reason why I decided to make this video is because I've seen something like this before, and we see it time and time again, and I've seen this over and over and over and over again. People who place themselves in, I don't want to say tragic situations, but people who place themselves in situation with USOPs. And as you know, the USOPs are early warning signs of potential problems. They place themselves in USOPs and then they start complaining about the circumstances of those USOPs when they knew when they first got into it that it was going to be problematic. You know, so she put herself in a position with this guy where she began having unprotected intercourse with him as soon as they met. Then she decided, I guess after she got what she needed a few times, she decided that she would break up with him. And then boom, 2 weeks later, I wonder if there's more math that could be done. I wonder how she even found out that she was pregnant. I wonder, I mean, did she have pregnancy kits just laying around where she was like, oh, because we're talking about 6 weeks. How many days is 6 weeks? So 4 weeks is 28 days, right? A menstrual cycle is a 28-day thing. So if she was, let's say she was just super aroused when she started having intercourse, right? So that means that she was 2 weeks into her cycle, because you can only get pregnant while you're ovulating, right? It's a 4-day span, right? You know what? Goodness, you know what? My mind is starting to drift, because I'm wondering how much of this was some sort of accident. Because if we look at the numbers, she would have been 2 weeks late on her period, and then started taking pregnancy tests to find out that she was. That's neither here nor there. Let's move forward. The thing that's upsetting to me is the lack of accountability, the lack of responsibility for our choices and what it is that we want. I would much rather and prefer if a person just came out and said, you know what, I was getting to be a certain age. The guy looked good. He looked like he had good genes. We got along. I realized that he wouldn't be much of a problem. And I decided that I just needed a sperm donor. I would love if we could just be honest with ourselves, rather than pretending as if you really want this person to be the all-American, all-out soccer dad. Let's stop. Let's cut the BS. Don't write to me with BS. Come to me and open up and be for real with me. Open yourself up and be for real. Keep it real. Stop pretending to be some sort of victim of a circumstance that you're a volunteer to. Then the part that really kind of troubled me at the bottom was where she was like, I'm giving up going to the military to have this baby. No, you're not. No, you're not. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You're not giving up going to the military. It's a choice. You don't want to go to the military. You're making a choice to have this child, which, look, I commend you whichever choice it is that you want, but let's be for real about the choices that we're making. Let's be grown-ass women here. You old enough to have a baby? You old enough to be out there having intercourse on the first date unprotected? And just let's go. Let's keep it real about our choices. You're choosing not to go to the military. You chose to be with a man who you knew was broke and couldn't buy you a meal. You were with a man who literally in caps paid for everything. So you were with a controlling man who treated you like garbage. Perhaps your self-esteem is affected. Your self-love tattered. You got into this situation, you realized, I'm getting older. Maybe you were with this guy for 5 years, so maybe you wanted to have his child and you couldn't. You wouldn't. Maybe you had an abortion or two. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But you decided that you would get with this man that you did not know and become impregnated by him. And then start waxing poetic about your choices as if this is not a choice. Here we go. Let's continue. Let's continue. He has 2 children. And from what I can tell, he spends as much time with them as he can. Well, because he doesn't have any money to contribute. Come on now. You're going to start snapping at the man. You're going to start trying to diss the man. You talking bad about this man. This is the person that you let raw dog you. Don't talk bad about him now. He was good enough to slide up into your womb unprotected. Don't start trying to snap on him now. This is obviously, listen, he is obviously who you chose. Why start snapping on him? This is your choice. This is the man you chose to tie your life with forever. 6 weeks pregnant, calling this man your baby daddy. As if you are proud to step into the world of being a statistic. At 6 weeks, a pregnancy isn't even fully viable yet. And you already waxing poetic about this man being your baby daddy. Coming to me and writing, I know I'm not the only one who's done this before. How did it work out? You asking me? You asking me how it's worked out? Listen, most of my viewers are African American. Most. So I can imagine you're African American too. Don't pretend as if you don't know single mothers. I mean, you're already using the slang term for the father of a child that's unwed. Baby daddy, huh? You know baby mamas out there. How did it turn out? How did it work out? You know how it works out. In the end, everything will be all right. And if it's not all right, then it is not the end. So we've talked about this in videos before. There are people who have children in seemingly what's the word? I can't even think of it. In seemingly imperfect situations. And at the end of the day, everything turns out right. It turns out good. You have a child, you have some struggles, then you latch onto that child and you use the child as the motivation or whatever the case may be. It happens in so many different ways. From the way that this letter is written, I can tell that you're very well spoken. You must be educated in some sort of way. Not a grammatical error or misspelling in sight. So you got your act together. Let's be real. Keep it real with me. You're talking about you was going to go to the military. Okay. Which means that you've been vetted by the U.S. government. Okay, so you's official. All right. So you know what you're doing, ma'am. I'm trying to figure out what this is all about. You're talking about how excited you are about this pregnancy. 6 weeks. You're so excited about this pregnancy. My baby. My this, my that, my baby, this, that, my baby daddy. All right. I'm going to stop harping on this lady because I know that she's already in a seemingly difficult situation because she's going through all of these emotions. And I just want to say, cut it out. Cut it out. Stand firm in your decision. Pull up your big girl pants and keep putting one foot in front of the other. This is a child that you went out there seeking. This is a child that you say that you want. And this is the person that you're saying is your quote unquote baby daddy. Which means that you want that situation too. When we want to be wives before we get pregnant, when we want to be with men who are going to handle business, we do those things. We do those things. However, please look and see what it is that you have done. You got with a person that you're calling a bum in a letter to me. The same person that you let run up in you on the first date. Now you're calling him a bum. And I guess my only commentary on this is stand by your decisions. Not just her, but all of us out there. Especially when we start, especially when we start making these troubling decisions that then begin to affect us and the people around us. When we sit there and we start complaining, it's like we become attached to the complaining. And it's like our friends and family see us driving in this car down the road. Let's say a train, because a train goes on a track. Our friends and family sees us boarding a train, getting on a certain track that we see is heading towards a certain end. And we jump on this train happily, only to complain about going down the track with the train. And then we complain and complain and complain to our families and friends about the situations. Oh, poor me, look at me. Oh, my baby daddy. Oh, my baby daddy's a bum. Bum. When we make the choice conscientiously or subconsciously to go in that direction. So listen, all I can say is stand by it. Stand by it. What is the harm in really opening yourself up and admitting, this is what I want. I want to be a baby mama. I wanted a man who was going to be low maintenance and out of my hair. I wanted to be able to complain about something. Maybe things were going too good and you were waiting for the other shoe to drop. You wanted something to complain about because that's what you used to. So we have these patterns, and when things start going too good, we do something to sabotage it, but at least be forthright, be real about what's going on. This is what you want. You want your life to go in this direction. So why write to me or anybody else asking or even lamenting about a choice that you are conscientiously making right now? And it's like, listen, you got two options. And I'm going to jump out of this video. You got two options, right? Make your decision and stand by your decision. Uphold your decision and go in it taking responsibility for the fact that these are your decisions and your choices. So this is your one choice right there. Go all in and say, you know what, this is what I wanted, right? And then you have your second choice. Keep pretending. Keep pretending as if this is not what you... Keep pretending and giving yourself pain and turmoil, or what did she say? Your decision, you're ashamed, and you're feeling all these feelings. Why bother? Why bother with shame and all this other stuff about a decision and choices that you are making conscientiously? Why? It's like, go all in. Go all in and enjoy the ride that you have set yourself on, or get off the ride. Either or. Either enjoy it or get the hell off of it. Simple. And on that note, listen, I know I was a little hard on her in this video. I know that. I know. I want us to really stand up and open our eyes. And if you can't take this type of forthrightness, then my channel is not the right channel for you. My content isn't the right content for you. Because I'm not going to baby you, and I'm not going to treat you as if you are lesser than me or anybody else out there. We all have the same universal universal energy inside of us. So come to me like the goddess, like the god body that you are. Listen, this is my book. This is the Book of Affirmations, Self-Love, and it is a powerful book and workbook filled with affirmations that assisted me in being able to shift my whole entire life around. When I was living in my car and things were very tough and very difficult, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get out of it. I was surrounded by just one issue after another. And it took me realizing that there were things that I did choices that I made that led me down that route. You know, it's like many of us don't pay our parking tickets or don't pay attention or don't open our mail, or we try to stick our head in the sand and all this other stuff. And I understand. Because it can be overwhelming. But we have to realize that those are choices. So, and the thing about it is, I know that it's difficult when you're in a situation like that. It's difficult to be able to see outside of the situation, because when I was living in my car, I couldn't, and things were so overwhelming, I couldn't see on the other side of it. And that's why it was really important for me to do these affirmations. These are the affirmations that I said to myself and then some. Once I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist, I went through and I used my knowledge of how to rewrite the subconscious programming to alter my affirmations to be able to be most powerful for you. When you write to me stuff like this, I know that you need this book of affirmation self-love. And a lot of you have been buying it. More of you have been buying the vitamin E because you want to work on what's on the outside instead of really healing what's going on the inside, because many of us are in denial. We don't really want to take a good look at ourselves. There was a girl who wrote to me on my old TKO Skin Facebook page, and she wrote to me and she was talking about, I'm really, really, really insecure. I really need this stretch mark cream. I used to have people writing to me talking about how they were crying about their stretch marks and all this, that, and the other. But this particular young lady, I told her to get the self-love affirmations book. And she came back to me almost offended. I love myself. Right. But you're writing to me about how insecure you are about your stretch marks. Wanting to put on some cream on the outside when it's the inside that needs healing. This young lady right here needs some healing from the inside out, especially now that you're bringing another human being into this life. And it's like, I wonder sometimes, how much will it take for us to open up our eyes, and it's like to come out of the water and open our eyes and look around and see what's around us. I wonder how much will it take? This is why I don't play games. I don't sit up here and I'm not going to pet on fluffy cotton for you. I'm going to tell you how it really is. And I know that many of you write to me for my real deal, untempered information and advice. Many of us out there need the book of affirmations, self-love, but many of us are in denial about it. So that we would love to be able to get the clear skin on the outside, because we feel like that pain is going to, I don't know, reverse. Which comes first? The clear skin and the self-love, or the self-love and the clear skin? Because for some of us, it's that lack of self-love that even sees our skin as unclear in the first place. And on that note, I'm out of here. Tonya TKO. Peace.